as well, our modern world. I've been giving a lot of thought recently to the idea of fear, or the experience of fear. Fear in the context, in a number of contexts. Understanding it through the Buddha Dharma. In the material world, the sentient world, very clear we understand what fear is. It's a survival strategy, it's a survival response. When I'm afraid, I contract. Metabolically, I contract. Heart rate goes up, my muscles tense, so I can move, so I can get out of the way and stay safe. Or I can get very small and hide to stay safe. Just like a dog, or a squirrel, or a deer. Those animal instincts are in all human beings. So metabolically, physiologically, that's a well understood phenomenon when we feel afraid. It seems to me that's very deeply rooted in our DNA. Because in this world, in the environment in which we live, there isn't much to be afraid of. It's highly unlikely somebody's going to break into your house and hurt you or knock you on the head walking down the street. Highly unlikely. Our ancestors had to be concerned about those things all the time. But it's really not very likely to occur in this world, this neighborhood. There's also fear of what might be. There's fear of what might be. The most obvious example is the coronavirus. That might be something that affects all of us or people close to us. We also might get hit by a car today. And I find it interesting that those maybe things seem to have such power. I used to smoke cigarettes. I might get lung cancer because of that. Maybe. I don't give it a moment's thought. I'm not afraid of that. But it's possible. Of course, people who never smoke cigarettes can get lung cancer too. And I bet they even think about it less. It's just such an interesting time. Fear is, from my point of view, fear is the most insidious emotion that a human being can have. And this virus quarantine really demonstrates it to me. I know people who are very, very concerned, very, very contracted about this. And won't leave their home or won't have anybody in their life physically, virtual and telephonically and so forth. And that's understandable. I get that, because that's how you get sick with the virus. And I don't want to be sick with the virus. It's going to be 6 feet apart.
Of course.
So it's not a diminution of the idea of being afraid. It's about what fear does to me, to us. Does the fear contract us to the point where our life is controlled by it? Or do we approach the fear with the wisdom eye? Do we approach the fear with skillful means, upaya? This is reasonable, this is not so reasonable. This makes sense, this not so much. And to be practical and skillful about a very justifiable fear is healthy. In my opinion, is healthy. But I am concerned that this has taken such a toll, pardon me, such a toll on some people. So I choose not to even talk about or think about this in terms of fear, but in terms of awareness, right? So we're not hugging, we're not sitting closer than 6 feet. We're not doing this and not doing that because it's common sense, because it's skillful, and we're aware. And I guess I'm differentiating that from fear. Stay over there. Oh. Does that make sense? That there's a differentiation between being skillful and mindful and afraid? So that's the invitation, is to be aware, to be skillful, to be careful, but not to be afraid. And because of the way we live now, the way I live now, I sometimes forget that this is all going to be over soon. Even if it's another year, it's still soon. Species been around for 30 million years. We can do this social distancing for another year if I have to. But don't be afraid. Be aware. Be conscious. And one more piece of this idea. It's been said that the Heart Sutra contains the whole Buddha Dharma. And we read that there are no eyes, no ears, no nose, no thought, no mind, no consciousness, no ego, no suffering, no fear, no doubt, all the no things. This is coming from the experience of someone who woke up. So if in fact we believe that this is true, what are you afraid of? Get it? No form, no feeling, no thought, no volition, no consciousness, no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, and no mind, no seeing, no hearing, no smelling, no tasting, no touching, no thinking. There is no world of sight, no world of consciousness, no ignorance, no end to ignorance. There is no aging leading to old age and death, and no end to aging leading to old age and death. There is no suffering, no craving, no extinction, no path, no wisdom, and no attainment. Indeed, there is nothing to be attained. If in fact this is an accurate representation of the way things are, what are you afraid of?
Nothing.
Nothing. Wonderful. So be aware, be careful, be safe, be respectful, but don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. This will all be over soon. Somewhere in the next 1,000 years or so. So, to all of you here and all of you online, thank you. It is a beautiful day in Green Bay.